Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Building Body Strengthening Minds podcast. My name is Steve Warren. I'm pleased, as always, to be joined to my right, Joe Sabusco. How are you, Joe?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Very good, thank you. Tony Greco to his right. How are you, Tony?
Doing great, Steve. Awesome week.
Yeah. What's happened? What's going on?
Well, just making progress, right? Creating interest. I see Joe's laid back right now, ready to go here. And
yeah.
You ready?
I'm always ready.
The yin and the yang, like there's Tony doing Tony things, his posture upright, and there's Joe like he's in a hammock.
Yes, that's where I am.
Chairs are comfortable. I gotta come on. Okay.
Well, you're too massive. That's why.
Too massive.
Yeah.
That's not a bad dig. It's kind of a backhanded dig. I like that. And we're joined by Natacha, a longtime friend of the show, we'll call it, because
yes,
of course did Greco Lean and Fit for many years on TSN 1200, and Natacha was a regular guest and all about, speaking of yin and yang, the spirituality of things, about yoga. You're a hot yoga instructor, mom of two. What else can you tell us about you? First of all, let's say hello for starters before I dig into things. How are things?
Hi, things are great. Thanks for having me here.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. We can speak French or English. I won't speak Italian, but yeah.
I've never been able to peg your accent.
My mom's from England.
England, okay. Yeah. Very good. I thought I heard some Australian in there.
Yeah, I know. I remember when we were trying to guess that first show. Yeah. And then did we figure it out or no? We didn't. We never.
Well, everybody says that. They say South African, Australian, but.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm just listening.
I think you're Australian. That's what I always think. Or Irish or something like that. No, I can't.
I look Irish to you.
No, I'm just messing with you. Messing with you hard. So, Tony, let's talk about your relationship from your professional standpoint and the health and wellness side of things. Why you and Natacha have always kind of been on the same page.
Yeah, well, I think, we share a lot of experiences together, and she's a great soul. And we talk about a lot about energy, recycled energy. And, people just bond together that kind of uplift spirits. Like today, I actually took Joe out to like a very spiritual cafe. And, I took him on Main Street and took him by the green door. Just give them a whole new dynamic of, people that are
out there.
No, not out there. But people that are just, good souls, right? Like it's just sharing experiences that just uplift everybody. And we saw that connection from day one. I think that's why we bounded together, just, and it was great from there on. I know that, she's going to talk a little bit more about throughout the show, but that's it. And we always smiling and we're always laughing every time we meet each other, right? And I don't know, it's just uplifting.
That's all the weed you guys had.
No,
5 minutes ago.
No, that's not true. I don't smoke weed, Joe. You know that.
So let's. So shall we tackle the yoga side of things, or where do you want to jump off point?
Well, I think the most important thing we want to talk about is how people are, just very depressed today, and the anxiety level. And then I think you wanted to dab into some of the stuff as well about
overwhelm.
Yes.
Fear.
Yeah.
You think people are overwhelmed these days?
Yes, I think people are very overwhelmed and in fear on so many levels. And that's what's creating a lot of the chaos, the anxiety, the depression.
And what does yoga do for that?
So, of course, you know what I'm going to say. So yoga comes and brings us back, grounds us. And that's what we need, because even after the pandemic, we all got into this state of non-control. And when the brain's in non-control, what does it? It like overwhelms the system with cortisol, and then we're in fight or flight, and we've stayed there, and we pretty much think that we're all fine and it's all over, but we're still very much in that fear, I feel.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? Like, I think people that I talk to, like some on a regular basis that, were kind of calm are more like frustrated for some reason. Like it comes out, it's like everything like. And I think is because, again, like I think people, it'd be safe to say that, their thoughts affect their human state, right? Like if you're in a pissy mood, then you're going to feel it. Sometimes I even talked to close friends that said, like, you look pissed off today. Like, no, I'm not. Well, tell your face that, like, because you are. But it's true though. Like, it's just like, they're going to say they're not, but they are. So I think if you agree that your thoughts affect your human state, I mean, unless you change as a person, it's going to create your personality over time. And I've seen it more and more. And I'm just saying this because I remember years ago when people used to come and see me about weight loss. And then, they were like frustrated, they didn't like themselves. And then once they started to lose a little bit of weight, they would go to work. And like, I had people literally call me and say, like, listen, I don't know what you did to that person, but like their behavior totally changed. And they're so much nicer to be around. But really all they did is, I think they created the opportunity of accepting and adjusting and acknowledge. They saw a little bit of progress. They gave out energy. Because when you don't feel good about yourself, the energy is going to be shit. And people are going to feel it. They don't want to be around you. But only you can create that. Like we can't tell you, like, you're your own person. But if you're not willing to change, and people will always ask, like, how do you do it? I mean, if most people, like, I always say, like, meditate. If you have a lot of time to meditate, I know it sounds crazy, but I think today what Joe and I did, like, we had a coffee. Like, first of all, he loved the coffee. This guy loved that coffee there.
Wow.
And he's a coffee drinker, but it was just
You guys
cool.
meditate together?
No, but see, that's the thing. Everybody thinks meditation is...
I'm meditating right now.
Exactly. That's my point.
Let's just
But it's true, though. Like, that's my point. So today, because I took him out of his element, just for that half an hour to be in that area where it's like, you know what? You don't see the same people. You're not in the same place. You're grounded in a different level. You could feel the energy. And those people that come in there, mostly good souls, so you almost adapt to it. You know what I mean? So if you take a little bit of that dose every day, you get the high. And that's what I mean about meditation. It doesn't have to be chanting home. Natacha will tell you that. I mean, she's had tons of retreats. I've been to her retreats. I'm sure she'll talk about it throughout the show. But
That's the one in the bushes, eh?
Yeah.
You're telling me about? Yeah.
it's amazing. The forest.
Whatever. Forest, bush.
But it's just that's what I'm saying, is that if you could adapt some of that feeling in your life, and you could create your personality, will be different. And then your energy is going to start to attract different people in your life. But you got to make, right? Like,
we let down the guard when we're in that state. We let down our guard. We lessen fear, so we let down the guard, and then our real light comes out and our real energy comes out, and we're not holding it back anymore.
yeah, exactly.
So when you're in that bush, when you come out of that bush,
The forest.
whatever, the bush, forest, same thing. When you get out of there, does your energy change?
Yes, our energy is a lot more grounded because we've spent the whole weekend. So the festival is like a whole weekend. So you really have time to let go of the stress, let go of the fear, let go of the anxiety, the kids, the routine, the work, and then slowly just settle in and either just connect with yourself or connect with others or both.
So how long does it take after coming out of that forest that you guys call a forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take before reality hits you again?
Well, it does hit maybe like 2 days later, you're like, oh, I can feel I'm getting a bit more stressed again. But then we have practices, and that's why it's so important for people to have practices to come back to yoga or meditation or chanting, which is amazing, by the way. Or it can be walking in the forest, going to nature's a meditation.
And that's the key part, is that the continuous pattern of the high. Like I said in our previous podcast, like, people run. I never understood the runner's high. Like, yeah, I run because I like the runner's high. I said, what do you mean the runner's high? Because once they're into that 30-minute run, that 40-minute, then it's almost like a self-fulfillment, because they're breaking through barriers that hinder their positive growth. They believe they can. They release endorphins like dopamine and everything else. So they feel it's like that rush, So when you're in that, forest or bush.
Let's call it Soul to Soul Festival.
Yeah, Soul to Soul Festival.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I was there with my wife, and it's like she didn't know what to expect, right? But she even felt good because, Natacha was there, and they were doing a sound meditation. So you had to be very quiet. So we decided to take a hike in the forest, and I'm like, look at this, like, piece of nature. Like, you just felt great. And all we did is we eliminated ourselves out of our regular element, because it was quite the drive getting there. And then when we came back, we started hearing, like, the bowl sound, like,
I would have fucking paid money to see that.
No, I'm telling you.
See Tony Greco with a
I'm
bunch
serious.
of fucking hippies barefooted in the forest,
I'm serious.
dancing and prancing.
No, I'm
Hey,
serious.
a bunch of hippies
No,
barefooted.
no, that's not
Hey,
true.
I would.
Footed. Why?
See,
Why?
I would have paid money for that.
I'm telling you.
Why didn't you film that?
We did.
It.
You did? Oh, you got to run some clips. I want to see Tony in dreadlocks.
No, I didn't. I just when I
You
came
didn't
back,
participate, eh?
when I came back, but I acknowledged everything. I absorbed it. And I thought it was so cool. I was actually spoke to some interesting people, and that's what I'm saying about, going to community events for support, getting a friend to support you through the hard time, like walking together. That's, another one. Like next week, we're going to have a good friend of mine, Dr. Jeff Perron, who's a neuroscientist, talk about being happy, right? This is going to be great. But again, these are the things you need to do to bring it all together. Take the walks with a partner, with a friend, go out with your dog. I mean, these are all little things. I don't know what works for individuals, but I'm just suggesting some of the stuff. I mean, obviously, Natacha's the yoga teacher, so she's going to, that's her practice of introducing to someone of letting go. But if you should try yoga. That's what you should do.
I don't bend. I slouch. I don't bend.
You should try yoga.
You should definitely.
How good would he love? Like, have you tried yoga, Steve?
I have tried yoga.
What do you think?
I liked it. But when you're getting me to stretch before a workout, I was kind of in the same mode of stretching as I was with yoga. I haven't really been introduced to the spiritual side of it.
Well, there's the option of not going into the spiritual side if you don't like it, because some people tend to think they'd prefer not. So they do it as more of a sport. So you can do like yin flow power. It can be hard, it can be gentle, it can be slow, it can be fast, it can be everything. But there's also the spiritual side, which is beautiful. Maybe I shouldn't get into that.
Oh, it's good. No, you should get into it.
That's the part I'm curious about.
That's
We all know about stretching.
Yes.
Yoga.
So how do you get into the spiritual side? How much mushrooms you got to do?
You don't do that.
Okay, I'm just asking.
You could,
'cause I
but
don't know. Right?
don't need to. So it,
I don't know, man. I'm just picturing hippies in the 60s. That's all I'm
it's changed a lot.
Oh, okay.
You've got to like.
I don't want people to
you have to be
to get
open-minded.
upset. I'm just talking.
You have
right?
to be open-minded.
Yeah, I'm
So
open-minded.
the
I'm here.
spiritual side comes to you, like I totally was open to it, and it came to me. It was offered to me through my practice. I like the whole practice of devotion, and you can be devoted in your practice to yourself, to the universe. It can be to a tree. It can be to Buddha. It can be to Krishna. It could be to anything, right?
Okay, so spiritually, what are you look like? What do you see? Like, do you see a light?
You don't see things. You could see things if you go deep down into meditation, but really all you want to do is get into a calm stillness state where you can find complete calm. And then actually it's really about connecting to yourself, to your inner child, to your inner self, to your inner strength, to remind yourself who you are, remind yourself of your strengths. And then as you meditate, you feel stronger, you feel out of fear. It actually, why? Because it grounds us, and we're in a world where nobody's grounded. And that's what like meditation and chanting does for me. Chanting has changed my life. So chanting is chanting mantras. You just repeat them, and it's it's
What are you chanting? I'm getting it.
mantras. So mantras are usually in Sanskrit, and you repeat them, so it brings you to a state of complete calm. It's magic.
It's kind of like, people that everybody believes in their own religion, but think of going to church and, being a Catholic or whatever religion that you are, and then you're in your place and everybody kind of sings together. That moment of singing is kind of the same idea. It uplifts the spirit. Everybody goes in peace. And it's like, you kind of feel like you're there, you're present, you're in the moment. Just a little bit of a taste. No, it's not a cult.
No.
But that's what happens, right? So then when you do that, you feel better about yourself.
It's vibration.
Tony, you chant in the morning, or what do you do?
I don't chant, but I meditate. I take 10 deep breaths every morning because, when people thought I was silly, but like even before I go to bed, this is the routine. And I've shared this on the show is, I put some relaxing music, and what it does is I do a body scan. And what I mean by that is if I'm lying in my bed, I start from the tip of my forehead and I kind of like repeat a message to kind of let go, let go, let go. And I can feel this light coming through the top of my forehead all the way down to my body. And I go the other way. If I'm still wired, I start from the bottom of my feet all the way up. So I do this scan. And as I do that, I get into a good deep state of relaxation, which is very easy meditation for people that want to try it at home. It's really neat. But just to touch Natacha's point is that when you get into that subconscious mind of being still, it's almost like being hypnotized, right? You're there, you're present, you're in the moment. No, nothing's distracted, because every day you have 60 to 70,000 thought patterns that go through your brain. We know a friend of ours whose brain's always going, right? And if you can, let go of some of those thoughts and be in the moment, that's why we say, hey, get off your phone. Are you here? They're never there. If you could truly be in that moment of stillness and being there present with yourself, that's huge. And that's hard to do, because even right now, our thoughts are going through our brains, right? Like, we're doing this podcast, but what we're thinking about so many other things. And the crazy thing is that 90% of those exact same thoughts that we think all the time, the stress. And that's why this is a constant medicine to release the stress. When's the next bill you got to pay? When's your rent due? What's going to happen tomorrow? It's in the air right now. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's stressed out, but who's going to change that? You are. So, this is just one form of it. Take a walk in the forest, the bush. This is the stuff you need to do. You need to do this stuff on a regular basis.
So everywhere I go, I hear people doing yoga. Oh, I'm in yoga. Oh, I meditate. But society looks more fucked than before. Is it maybe too much meditation? Is it too much spiritual touching?
There isn't a lot of people that practice, especially not now.
Everybody you talk to, oh, I do yoga. They have mats. You see them walking around with mats. Oh, I do yoga. We have all.
Those people will probably be more connected than those people that don't do anything, because
connected to what?
More connected to themselves and being a better soul, because that's what you practice every day. It's like building a muscle, right? If I do bicep curls every day, I'm going to have bigger biceps. So if you practice that language, let's call it, you're going to be more fluent in it, and you're going to know how to accept, adjust, and acknowledge. That's why have you ever met a yoga person being violent? I've never met a yoga person being violent. Like, they're always, hey, namaste, like they're inviting you all the time. It's like they're good souls, because that's what they practice. They might internally have a crazy anxiety issue, but they're because of the fact that they're going every day and learning this language, they're accepting and adjusting. So it's like, hey, namaste, like bringing you in, like they're making themselves better by bringing you in.
It's a tool.
A tool. I like the word tool. Yeah. That, like,
Joe, I was just going to say, Joe's obviously, in some form of resistance to what you're preaching here. And I would imagine the hockey players that you deal with, have you ever tried to expose your hockey play? When you train hockey players, like, that's testosterone and machismo, and what would they think if you tried to expose them?
Well, they did Natacha's class back in COVID, and they were using an arena over in the Gatineau side, because that's where our studio is. They loved it. They loved it. It was great. They felt great. Share the experience. They loved it because
they really loved it. Yeah. They wanted to come back all the time. And we had, I think, 3 or 4 practices, and it went super well, but then they were leaving. But I also teach, there's a high school in front, and I teach all the basketball players. Since 4 years, they run over. They want to be at the studio because it's Zen, because there's the gentle music, there's the incense. They sit down, they calm in a second. They arrive, they're pushing each other with their pack sacks, and in a second they just ground down, and then they go straight into the room. They listen. They're like so attentive. They want this now because they know at the first day in September there's always a few new ones, and then they're agitated, but the others have like settled in.
Yeah.
Be honest, what are you pumping in those vents?
No, but you know what, saying and doing are 2 different things. Like, don't say it, show me, right? And that 1 hour is where you put everything down. Like, I'll use me as an example. I play hockey 2 times a week now. I love it, but I only do it as well, not because the team is great, because I can put my phone away. Like, I know for that 1 hour, like, nothing's going to bother me. You can't have you can't bring your phone in yoga class. So when you're listening to Zen music, when you got the incense going, you got like very calming music, constant voice preaching. How can you not try to relax? Like, it's going to take time, but one test you can do for people that are listening is try it yourself at home. I remember when I was doing classes too, like at the end when we put people into like a deep state of relaxation, guess what would happen? People would be on the ground, look at my fingers, they'd be like this. They'd be shaking. It's like, and in my head, as I'm walking around the class, I'm going, oh my gosh, this guy can't let go. Like his brain must be going like 100 miles an hour. They couldn't let go because we keep repeating, let go, let go, let go. Some people can't let go. Their brain just, right? It takes a long time. So that the more you can do that, it's not just about bettering yourself, but guess what? Another thing you do, you deflect situations. I'll give you a prime example. You could go in a room, and if someone's really negative, guess what you do? You go, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go, oh, guys, I got to go drink some water. Because you don't want to be around that negative energy. You're not saying to the guy, hey, you know what? You really suck and your energy sucks. I'm leaving. That's why I don't want to be here. But you're like, guys, I'm just going to grab some water.
Yeah, but if you're weak like that and you want to deflect every time there's a situation because you're doing yoga, how's that good for you?
If you're weak.
Well, that's your signs of weakness. Because, like you're going to walk away.
No, it's not. It's not you're weak. You just know you don't want to be around that negative energy. Who wants to be around that?
Yeah, but why don't you try to turn that guy's energy to positive like this?
Go take yoga. I mean, not just yoga, but better. No, because
you know what I'm saying? Like what he's saying is the guy walks into the room and he's got negative energy. Yeah. So you're going to turn around and walk away.
No, what I would tell that guy is I would say, look, he first of all, they would need a lot of work. But that person there, the only reason why they got a negative energy is because they're creating it. They're not happy in their own life. Nothing wrong with that. This is why you do the things you do. Because, I mean, if you were happy with your own life, you'd always be in a good mood.
I'm always in a good mood. I have a shitty life.
You don't have a shit life. You have a good life. You're busy. You got work. You're waking up every morning. You're breathing. You're healthy. Yeah. That's a good life. Every day above ground is a good day.
Oh, for sure. I'd rather see the roses and not the roots.
Exactly. But a lot of people too, it's greed because they don't know what they truly want.
Right.
It's like you ever ask people, why are you so miserable? Some people don't even know. They're just miserable. They're caught up in this turmoil of misery for no reason at all. It's like go on vacation for 4 days and they feel better. Like I don't get it. I mean, listen, we all have issues. Let's face it. No one lives a perfect life.
No.
But if you could grasp some of the tools, like you were saying, to make yourself better every single day, and it works, then all you're going to do is excel at what you're already doing because you're creating a different personality that's be more accepted. Who wants to be around people that complain all the time? I had a buddy, my buddy, who was miserable as hell.
I think he's downstairs.
Now he's got a girlfriend. No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
And he'll tell you himself, I was in a deep place. Look at this guy. He did a 360 change. This guy is the happiest.
Happy.
Why?
Well, he's happy.
Why is he happy?
He's happy, Tony.
You know what I mean, though. But Steve,
but he's happy for the wrong reasons.
And he'll tell you himself. So I'm not calling him out. He'll tell you himself.
Listen, he's happy for the wrong reasons. If you cannot make yourself happy and you need a person to make you happy, chances are you have a problem.
Well, some people, not everybody's a leader. So you got a leader, you got a innate personality, which means you, and the reason why I think you have that, knowing what I know about you, is that you've probably went through obstacles where remember you said you had to prove yourself all the time.
Always, still today.
Right. So that's going to create that strong mind. Like, I'm not going to listen to anybody. I'm going to do my own stuff. And I'm sure you might be successful at it, which you all.
It's not that I don't listen. I listen. I hear you every day. I listen to you every fucking day.
Look how much more positive you are now.
I was always like
more
this. You're not going to change.
Attract you. Like, you're not. Natacha's here.
Not going to change my life. Absolutely. But I'm saying, like, it doesn't change. A person's life shouldn't. How to explain it? Like, you shouldn't be dependent, is what I'm saying.
Not everybody's strong-minded.
And like, it's nice to have yoga instructors and it's nice to have gym instructors, but now that person becomes dependent.
You're right.
No,
but
we're not dependent on the yoga, you mean?
On the yoga instructor, on the gym. But I'm dependent.
But you can practice alone easily.
Yeah. And your goal, each individual's goal should be the best person they can be. Not for me, not for Natacha, not for you, not for Steve. It's what is your goal should be the best person you can be. And then what you want to do is when you adapt this, you share it with others. I think the only reason why, listen, you should talk about your life a little bit too after, but the only reason why she loves sharing this with others, and a lot of people do, is because we see how happy people get. I was a martial arts instructor for several years. I mean, when I was to stand in front of the class, I see people's faces in front of me, and I could see them like, kiaing, like, that loud yell of letting the frustrations out of their like tension. It's like, and the punch. When they leave, these people were in a different zone. That to me was like rewarding, like everybody.
Tension release.
Yes. Right. But you should talk about your life. Like, well, not your life, but you know what I mean? Something, right? Like, I mean, this is...
You have a question, you ask her.
Yeah.
What is it?
You should, like, go for it.
So you want me to talk about the recognition?
Well, yeah.
So I had a dance in school for many years, and even there I felt that even the practice of dance was like meditation for the kids. So they would come out smiling, they were happy, and that was really rewarding. But then after I realized I had a passion for yoga and decided to open my yoga studio, and that is literally... It has been my salary for the last 4 years, as we've had it just before pandemic. 5 years, I'm not quite sure. The people coming out, the people, their feelings, the way they share with me that this is their treat in their day or in their week. This is what brings them the most peace. This is what has made them realize so many things. Just to take time and be with themselves, realizing who they are, realizing their worth, because also there's a lot of fear. People are wondering, what's their worth here on this planet? Is it significant? What's the meaning of their life? People are wondering all that in the back of their head. And when you practice or you're in stillness, you take the time to come and see your worth, come and see your values, come and see who you are and what you need for the rest of your journey here, right? So it's only in those moments that you're going to have those answers or those moments of, oh my God, like, oops.
You can swear. It's a podcast. Steve doesn't mind. Accepting now.
I love that. I love
the radio days are over.
Have you got to drop the F-bomb on this podcast?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oops, I did. But we'll edit it.
It's all good.
But yeah, so I realized that, and I realized that's what everybody needs now. And so now, with the practice, I've realized people need more than just an hour. So now I create the event. So in a few hours, people really let go, really let go of the cage, become more connected with people and like let themselves be open and talk more. And it's just beautiful to see. For me, it's like, wow. And then, we do weekends retreats where we connect to nature. We in water. We do paddleboard yoga. We do like eating well, which is important to raise your vibration.
Yeah.
Once you raise your vibrations, you're more grounded. You're less stressed out. So good food, eliminating like...
I got to bring Joe next year then.
But I'm still not understanding, Steve. Like, a lot of people are doing what she's saying, right? More than 10, 15 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, this was unheard of.
Yeah.
Right? But I find people today are more disturbed than 10, 15 years ago.
Well, what's your success rate like? Let's talk about that.
Well, people crave it. People want it. People rush from work to get it.
Yeah, people want drugs too, but that doesn't mean you're fixing a problem, right?
Healthier.
No, but you understand what I'm saying. People crave medication. Doesn't mean they're fixing a problem.
Yes, so I just want to say quickly.
Go ahead.
So I agree that it seems that society is more messed up.
Disturbed, he said.
Disturbed.
Is that the word?
But what I mean is that they're not disturbed because of the yoga and the meditation. They're disturbed because of the pandemic, because of the stress, because of the scrolling.
See?
The addictions to our phone. That is huge. The disconnection to society. What's your connection with people now? It's sending memes till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Why are people fucked up? Because we forgot how to be human.
See what I mean?
Yes, there's no more social connection.
Yeah.
Everything is through, I got a buddy of mine, well, you know him very well. He text messages everybody. But how does he do it? He doesn't type. He talks to his phone. Right? What's that called? Self-texting or whatever it's called. Well, why don't you just dial the phone and call the guy if you're going to talk to your phone?
because that's where their mind, they're listen, look, we all have a little bit of addiction on our phone, but that is a big problem. It's a huge, huge problem. And unfortunately, it's so far gone that I think the people that are still connected are the people that do this kind of stuff. Because like I've been in a room doing public speaking and some people are just like lost in thought. And I could pick up the people that their attention span is less and less and less. That's why, honestly, I love the martial arts. I love the discipline. I love the like yogas, because these are the last things that are left for people to gather together and let go and be connected again as humans, not as robots, because that's what's happening. It's happening with the kids. It's happening with everything else. Everybody knows about it, but no one does anything about it. So, the last thing we have is this kind of stuff. I mean, one of the things we do with this podcast is to try to get people that are listening to say, hey, you know what? That's me as a parent. I got to be better. I got to do this. I got to do that. And hopefully you save the person before it gets too far gone. Or it's like people are on their ear pods and it's just people are not paying attention anymore.
No.
It's just in a different world. It's sad.
Like zombies.
Yeah.
That's why the society seems like that to us, but it's not because of the practices. The practices are the only things that's
I know, but they
gonna
reach
save us.
so much information about it. They eat well, they exercise, they do all the blah blahs, but then
yeah, because they get some of the stuff through social media, and then they're in their own world. They don't talk to people. Like they just have their ear pods and they're like in coffee shops and they're walking around like zombies because they're in the world.
that's exactly where you brought me today.
But but you notice they didn't have any ear pods.
No, but they were in zombie land.
Well, no, they were connected because people were not on their phone. I didn't take it to a regular coffee shop where people on their computer and on their phones.
Well,
everybody there
look disconnected.
Remember when I asked them about the coffee and they responded right away? Those people were engaged. That's why
they were impressed that somebody was actually talking.
Yes,
like a library there.
But that's the society I was in. Like a lot of people are on their ear pods and they're like in a totally different world, so they're connected to the social world. Like I bet you people are more. It'd be interesting to see the stats. People that are engaged on a social platform as opposed to a real platform in real life. And I mean, people just walk around like, listen to this podcast, but they're not paying attention to the real world.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a real world left.
Yeah,
honestly.
I would agree with you too.
Yeah, no.
Well, just hearing both sides, I think you're both on the right path from the perspective of, people seem messed up right now, but at the same time, I'm guessing it's still pretty much the minority of the population that are working out hard or doing the things that you do. If more people were doing it, probably be less people looking messed up. I mean, you guys are providing a solution.
Well, they would be able to deal with things a lot better because people do not deal with things because they're not using the tools. They're gaining weight because they're not exercising. They're listening to stuff and they're on social media. They're not eating right. You know what I mean? They're forgetting the small things that make a big difference. And all the tools are out there. Like there's good things about social media, of course, that you could use, but people are just constantly always on there and they're forgetting about their self. Remember, you're number one. Only you can use the word I in a sentence. Take care of yourself physically, and then mentally and then spiritually is, I think the third category. So you have all those tools, but you can't lose that reality of life. Like, I mean, imagine like we wouldn't be even talking together, all of us here. Like it'd be insane.
We'd be all on that, what's it called? Those
virtual,
those cameras there.
Yeah, where we have we're in a
you'd be in your house, you'd be in yours, you'd be in yours. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, what's the point?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues right now, and certainly, hustle culture is another one. Like people are just go, not just with their business, but with their kids, and they have to be, the best at everything, and they got to be everywhere, and they got to be spending money. And
well, I experienced that last night. I'm not going to say where, but man, I tell you, that was terrible. What I saw last night.
Yeah,
where you took me.
Mm-hmm. Was that crazy or what?
Like I never seen that.
Well, I want more information.
We'll probably bring it up at another time.
All right. Sorry, good listeners. You're not getting more than that, apparently. So the hustle culture, I mean, I'd imagine that's a problem for a lot of your clients, right?
A lot. And a lot of them come, get their practice started, and then they text me. They're like, I'm going to have to stop for a month because I've got this and that. And I'm like, stay on track. Keep it like constant is so necessary. But yeah, with their kids, with their jobs, they even have 2 jobs now to keep up because everything's so expensive, grosses and all of that. And they just try to keep their practice. And then sometimes they try at home, but crazy. The hustle is nuts.
It is nuts. And here's the sad part is that people that rely on other people, whether it's in a financial goal or whether it's in a physical goal or, a relationship goal, they're exhausted. So because they're exhausted, they're losing their focus. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll give you an example. Like, if you rely on your financial advisor, let's say, right? And this guy's got, he's exhausted and he's not doing your job. Like you're relying on this guy. It's like a doctor. People can't even find doctors right now. Like it's insane. So it's like, you used to have your family doctor. You cannot get a doctor right now. So imagine that's gone. Like it's just crazy what's happening. So I think people are exhausted and people are losing their focus. I asked even my own doctor to take on a buddy of mine. He's like, Tony, I can't do it. Like I'm literally tapped. Like this guy's running on fumes. This is your doctor speaking now, right? Imagine that. This is what we've gotten to. So it's
do you believe governments are controlling all this? Do you think governments are trying to make us like robots and they're controlling us?
It's a whole nother topic there for sure. But like, it's a big topic. But I could say one thing. Like, I mean, seeing is believing. And the reality is that like people can't find doctors out there. Like people are exhausted. You got CEOs of companies that are like, on their 10th coffee by 2:00, trying to keep awake. You got lawyers that are working till like 3, 4 in the morning. Like it's crazy, man. Like, I mean, you're hearing more and more of this stuff. So the resources that you were relying on to whatever control, like what you're kind of, worked for, it's not happening anymore. Like it's almost like everybody's got to individualize and think for themselves. Like it's crazy. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's pretty scary.
So why isn't I'll say this, that, I don't know you real well, Natacha, but I've known you for a while and you've always had this brightness, this lightness, this pleasantness about you. Tony, same thing. And so from that perspective, I think, okay, there must be something to what these people are talking about. So why isn't everybody doing what you guys do? Why is it a time commitment? Is it because it's too hard? Is there a laziness factor? Why are more people not jumping on board?
I think a lot of people need to learn about it and be open to it. I think they will if we keep doing things like this, keep talking about it and sharing the energy that it brings us, the high vibration that it brings us. I think it's mainly that, and time for sure. But when people realize that this actually will bring them time because they're going to be more grounded, more concentrated, their brain's going to function better the next day that they've had a beautiful practice than if they've gone home and kept scrolling and kept working. So once people realize that, I think they'll be like, yeah, I've got to go practice. I'm going to practice. It's 1 hour in my day. Or I'm going to go train. It's 1 hour in my day. Or I'm going to go walk in the forest and ground and be barefoot like hippies.
Yeah, and I think it's, I agree. And I also think it's like failures that have happened in people's lives where, maybe your goal was to lose weight and you didn't. Maybe your goal was to, do a downward dog and you couldn't do it, or you couldn't get into the meditation. Like it's about like the fear of failure is a big one. The time is another one. But, at the end of the day, if you're willing to change, there's so many good resources out there. It's not like you necessarily have to go see Natacha for yoga or for me for fitness, but there's so many good resources out there that you can take advantage and make yourself better. So, and you got to be patient, right? Like, don't expect results to happen overnight. That's the other thing. People are like, they've gained weight, they've done this. They're like, oh yeah, I've tried this, but you haven't been consistent. Like, when was the last time you were consistent for 3 weeks? Break the habit, be consistent, and don't beat yourself up. Just accept who you are and keep going, and then good things will happen. Like, it's just, you got to start somewhere, right? If you don't create your future, you're just going to keep, babbling on about how you could have or should have, would have, and all that stuff. There's enough resources out there. You know what? Create your future. Ask for help if you need it. I'm sure there's a lot of good people out there that can share the progress with you. You know what I mean?
Have they won you over, Joe? Listen, I've been hearing more and more in society that people are saying to people, you got to work smart and not hard. And I don't believe in that. I've never seen a baby come out and run. So the work smart instead of working hard, that theory for me, it doesn't work. That's why society is the way it is, because people want things done quick, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So parents are advocating to their kids, work smart, not hard, because we have to work hard. You can work smart. I don't think that's true. I think you have to work hard in order to be smart.
You definitely have to outwork your other opponent harder. Absolutely.
You know, and you've heard of this line, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's happening.
Well, I think, you guys aren't advocating that this is the easiest thing in the universe either, right? There's a work that goes with this too.
They're just saying it. You got to commit. You got,
No doubt.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be the leader of the pack. They don't understand the hard work that goes into it. You know what I mean? Everybody.
I want to learn to play guitar, but I'm not going to pick up a guitar and just suddenly play "Smoke on the Water."
Yeah,
actually, I can do that one. That's the thing.
Be Jimi Hendrix, eh?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's true. It's so true about that, Joe. I totally agree. You got to outwork the other opponent way harder than you do. It happens in professional sports. It happens in everything. You got to go out there and I think win every day. If you take a month and you have less wins, then at the end of the month you lose, right? Mm-hmm. So every day, you should do an exercise. Did you win or lose? Whatever it is that you did. Let's say you want to lose weight. Prime example, easy exercise. You want to lose weight? Okay, great. What did you do today? Write down what you did. You made better, better changes in your eating habits. You walked 20 minutes, whatever, okay? So that's a win. Tomorrow it's like, what did you do? Oh, I didn't walk. I didn't get out of bed. I didn't do it. You know the drills. You lost. So at the end of the month, if you have less wins, you lose. So if you do that throughout the course of a year, then you lost.
Right. You
did it. Nobody else. Because the stuff was there for you to do. And that's called work. Work harder. So at the end of the day, the win and lose thing is a great drill that people should do. I use it as a business tactic when I'm doing some of the coaching. I say, look, take a month, win or lose, and write down what you did to win. And a professional team, what do? They bring the team in as guys, you know what? This is a game of progress. We need to win. Guess what? We've lost for 3 months. Either I'm going to get the axe, the GM's going to get the axe. That's what's going to happen. Call the leaders in. Guys, we need to get our shit together. We're losing. We got to make some changes. And that's it. You got to win every day at your own game.
All right, Natacha, is there any information about Natacha that we can put out to the universe right now?
Yes. So I have my studio that's in Gatineau called Yoga Tribe or Yoga Tribu. And if you want to follow me on social media, Natacha Garganciel, and that's where I post about all the things I do, the events, the retreats, the festival. And
paintings, the nice bracelets that you get.
Yeah.
I didn't bring Joe or Steve one, by the way.
I do have some in the car.
This is good vibe bracelets, by the way.
So I make bracelets. I'm also in a gallery. I'm an artist. And so on my social, Natacha Garganciel, I post about this. But I'd love, if people want to reach out and write to me about this, about the practice, about anything that we spoke about and about the retreats. And if they feel that would do them good or the festival, I would love to chat.
Very good.
Inbox.
Well, it's been a treat to have you. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Like this. You got to go like this, Steve.
Do I? I'm sorry. Namaste. Namaste. What is
Joe? Come on.
So namaste means the light in me honors the light in you. So it's nothing religious.
See that?
Gotcha.
It's just,
Come on, Joe.
It's
Namaste.
beautiful.
Get there.
He's like, next time.
Tony, great job as always. Joe, great to see you.
Thank you. It was nice seeing you again.
Any final thoughts from you?
Come on, Joe.
Final thoughts?
You're good. Let's get an espresso.
That's it.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today here on the Building Bodies, Strengthening Minds program. My name is Steve Warren, and we'll talk to you next time.